I've had a lot of questions regarding gold. Why does it read up at certain numbers? Why does it read up sometimes low, sometimes high, really iffy tones? There's many factors that really that contribute to a piece of gold giving a certain ID on the detector. The shape, the size, the purity, if that target's on its edge, if that target's deeper in the ground there, the minerals will mask lower conductive targets, especially in my hot ground. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make several piles of gold items here that weigh about the same, you know, within 1/10 of a gram. This scale here has a tolerance of 1/100th of a gram. So I'll just turn it on here. Put that, the wind's it's really blustery today, so it's gonna be really hard to have it really super accurate there. So it's zeroed out there. Just dump all this gold in there. 45.4 grams. Okay. So I'll just turn it on, turn it off again there. I'm gonna put these in separate piles here, okay? And then I'm gonna sweep the detector over those same weighted targets and see what happens, right? There's so many factors that go into this ring reading up that certain number, okay? 1.2 grams, 1.26 grams, 6.9 grams. We'll get this other necklace out here. 6.83 grams. These two weigh pretty much the same. This ring and this bracelet weigh the same. This is a really heavy 14 karat. Both of them are 14 karat. So 1.28, 1 gram, 1.20, pretty much weigh the same, within 1/10 of a gram. 2.45 grams, 2.35 grams, weighs within 1/10 of a gram, right here. These two targets weigh about the same. And then they're same purity too. It's the shape and the size too. It really has a big difference on what these targets are going to weigh at. 0.91, that's pretty much the same as that one right there. 0.9396, same right there. 1.63. 1.64. So I'll just move these. 1.6, 1.2, 1 gram. 1.17, 1.17, exactly. These two rings here that I found just recently weigh exactly the same. 1.17 grams. 1.64 grams. Test this one right here. 1.6 grams. All three of those weigh the same. 1.28 grams. Same as these right here. That's a 1 grammer. These weigh 1.2 something. 1.26. This can be surprising how different these targets are. Even though they weigh the same, they read up totally different on the detectors. On all detectors. 0.96. Right there. 0.96. Identically the same. These three targets here. 1.67. 1.67. Identical. So watch. I'll put my 50 gram calibration here. 50 gram right here. Pretty close. Weighs within 1/100th of a gram. Or 5/100ths of a gram. 1 gram. Right there. And this big necklace right here. 9 grams. 9 grams. Now I'll turn my detector on. It's just crazy. There's so many factors that go into these targets reading up at certain numbers, right? These targets, there's 1 gram, 1.2 grams, 1.6 grams, 2.4 grams, 6.8 grams, 1.17 grams. And this one weighs 9 grams, right? Just turn the dais on here. It's just amazing how much of a difference these targets are. And if you're using like the Equinox or something, when you only have a scale of 0 to 40 on your non-ferrous range, these numbers will still be all over the place for the same weighted targets. The shape, the size, the purity is going to make a big difference, right? And how the orientation of that target in the ground. If these rings are on their edge, totally different. I'm just gonna, it's a hot program here, okay? We go with 74 kilohertz. Now remember, these two targets, I'm in the hot program because I want to get a tonal ID for these targets. So these numbers correspond with the tone. Right, listen to it. 80, 71. These two rings weigh identically the same, within 1/100th of a gram. They're both the same purity. They're just different shapes. Right? Different shapes. Now watch what happens when I'm in 74 kilohertz. I'm 74 kilohertz. 80. Now I'll go down to 14 kilohertz. 45. Right? This is a non-normalized ID here, so the frequency has a lot to do with your numbers with this coil here, the high frequency coil. I'll go back up to 74 kilohertz. So all these targets right here weighed 1 gram, within 1/10th of a gram, all these targets. 83. Here's a small pendant right here. 68. Here's another earring. 74. It's a strong tone there. But once I get on the edge, 74. 80. Now watch on the edge here. On the edge, reads up way different, man. 80. Here's laying flat here, across here. 50, right? Huge difference. Those targets weigh almost the same there. There's 3 rings here. These ones read up at 1.28 grams. 73, 59, 74. And a lot of this gold here I've found with this dais right here. This dais machine in 74 kilohertz is just freaking deadly on gold. Here's ones that weigh 1.6 grams here. 1.6 grams. 69, 77, 85, 79. So the composition of these targets here are different. Even though they're the same purity of gold, the other alloys that are in these targets here, some may be high in copper, some may be high in silver, some may be higher in zinc. So or tin or whatever they put in that metal, in that alloy, to make it do what they want. You know, some may want white gold, so they stick platinum and silver, high content of platinum and silver in that purity of maybe 10 or 14 karat gold. And there's less copper in there, so it makes it white gold. With the really yellow gold, they've put more copper in there. But it still has the same, you know, it doesn't really matter what the purity of the gold is. It matters what the purity of the other base metals is in that to what it reads up at. All right. 74. 85. Oh wait, that one was not 74. 75. 89. So these ones weighed exactly identically the same. 2.6 grams, something like that. 82. Now watch this ring right here. This honking ring, I just found this not too long ago. 95. Watch what happens when I go down to 14 kilograms. 81. Go back up to, if I can push my buttons here. These buttons are really worn out on this machine, so. These two targets weighed 6.8 grams, or 6.9 grams, both these targets. Here's that really heavy bracelet here. 40. All right. Watch what happens when I go down to 14 kilohertz. It barely even hit it. All right. Just so small. This is a really heavy bracelet here. And here's this 9 point something gram bracelet here. 31, 34. No, I'll go to 74 kilohertz if I can do it. These buttons are just so worn out. 60. 60. You can try it with any machine, man. Even with the Equinox that has a compressed scale there, still going to be all over the board. These targets weigh almost identically the same. You just never know what you're going to dig out, man. Especially when they're on their edge. These targets are really hard to find. Those small pieces of jewelry are hard to find. These are the smaller rings, you know, smaller rings. You know, the larger rings in 74 kilohertz will pretty much give you high numbers, especially in 74 kilohertz, because it really compresses everything to the higher scale there. Well, there we go. Thank you for watching.